Hello there, my name is Mandu Reid and I am the leader of the Women's Equality Party. I am our candidate for Mayor of London and I'm also proud to lead our bid to win a history-making seat for our party on the London Assembly. I passionately believe in the principle of nothing about us without us. And so my plan to advance the rights of disabled people in London is to involve and consult with disabled people in all aspects of planning, facilitation, and implementation of our policies. This includes addressing the disproportionate rates of domestic and sexual violence experienced by disabled people and the lack of accessible specialist provision to support them. Equality is at the heart of our party, and so ensuring London is an accessible city is absolutely mission critical to our campaign. And an example of our commitment and impact is that we wrote to the mayor earlier this year calling out his exclusion of disabled people on the London Recovery Board, an unjustifiable omission which he has since rectified. It's really important to recognize that accessible doesn't just mean wheelchair accessible. It's more than that. Things like hearing loops, soundproofing, tactile surfaces, and built-in support must be considered too. So when it comes to new builds, I believe that architecture firms and developers should be required to involve disability consultants right from the start, because accessible housing needs to be the norm, not an exception. And as Mayor of London, I would revise funding guidelines around the Affordable Housing Act to ensure that accessible home numbers are aligned with need, as outlined in our manifesto. Accessible transport is central to social mobility and equality. I will increase space for wheelchairs, mobility scooters and buggies in new fleets of buses, trains and trams so that people with a disability don't have to compete as much for limited space. I am also concerned that the recent introduction of low traffic zones were implemented without assessing the impact on disabled Londoners who rely on cars. And so I would work to introduce greater flexibility and comprehensive impacts assessments for all low traffic neighbourhoods to ensure they are fully inclusive. Firstly, we need to understand the issue, properly understand it, in order to tackle it. Disability hate crime is a very real and serious threat, but we need better data about it. Secondly, we need to educate and campaign to ensure that disabled people have the same rights as non-disabled individuals. And to me, that starts with education programs in schools and workplaces, as well as public awareness campaigns, so everyone understands how insidious and how harmful ableism is, alongside racism, sexism, homophobia, and other forms of prejudice and discrimination. I am immensely proud that over the last year, a vibrant, active, and ever-growing disability caucus group has emerged within the Women's Equality Party. They help to advise and shape the party's campaigns and our other work. And as their remit becomes more focused and formalized, I will support the caucus in their outreach and consultation efforts to make sure that deaf and disabled-led organizations always have a seat at our table. There needs to be remote learning options for everyone who identifies as disabled or neurodivergent. And my plan includes the provision of special equipment or funding to improve accessibility in existing adult education centres, including budgets for necessary accommodations, for example, for sign language and interpreters. In October 2020, a motion was passed at the Women's Equality Party conference about an online education policy for young people with disabilities. And what's in that policy echoes absolutely everything I want to do and I believe must be done within London for Londoners for the benefit in particular of our disabled citizens.